الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. So today's lesson will be about Hamzatul Qat and Hamzatul Wasul. So here, Hamzatul Qat is what we normally know with the alif with the Hamza on top of it or below it. That this is the Hamza that is always read. So we need to understand a few concepts. So the first thing, Hamzatul Qat, alright? This is the Hamza that you always recite. Hamzatul Wasl, if you are starting on it, you will recite it. If you are continuing, then you ignore it. So that's the big concept here. And inshallah, we'll go over also some of the ways to start Hamzatul Wasl. Is it you start with Fatha, Kasra, or Dhamma? But to understand the concept between Hamzatul Qat and Hamzatul Wasl, Hamzatul Qat is the Hamza that we all know, which is the one that we see with the alif with the Hamza on top. Like this. Here is Hamzatul Qat. And Hamzatul Wasl is when you see the alif by itself, like this. Alright, so now let's look at the lesson. And so here, like we said, the Hamzatul Qat, as you see here, you always recite it regardless if you have connecting to it or you're starting off with it. So for example, here we have the word Aslama. Aslama. If you put a wow before it to continue along with it, you still recite it. Wa aslama. Wa aslama. Another example. A'malu. A'malu. If I put a wow. Wa a'malu. Wa a'malu. Then let's look at some of the examples. Here we have ajala. Ajala. Uswatun. Uswatun. إصرا إصرا وأعلم وأعلم فأنزل فأنزل إخوة إخوة وأشد وأشد وأضل وأضل أقرب أقرب أوحى أوحى. All right, and now here we'll be discussing some of the words that have Hamzatul Wasl. And we said Hamzatul Wasl, if you are starting on it, you will recite it with a Hamza sound. If you are going to continue, you will ignore that Hamzatul Wasl, completely ignore it. For example, here, Ibnu, Ibnu. And here, if you're going to recite it with a connecting, you ignore that Hamzatul Wasl. Wabnu, Wabnu, Ibnu. Ithnani, Ithnani, Wathnani, Wathnani. So here is the example. So now let's look at some of the examples. Here we have Watlu, Watlu, Ismu, Ismu, Fasbir, Fasbir, Wa'bud, Wa'bud, Ikshaf, Ikshif, Ikshif. اركض اركض اشرح اشرح واضرب واضرب فاغفر فاغفر وانظر وانظر. So you might have a question about how to start off on the Hamza Wasl. When is it Fatha? When is it Dhamma? When is it Kasra? How do you know that it's ikshif or ishrah and vice versa? So to discuss this, to know about this a little bit more, you have to look at some of the concepts and some of the rules that they have made. So first thing, we know that there's different cases. So if the letter starts off with the third letter is dhamma, and it's a verb in the fi'l amr, in the order tense, and the third letter is dhamma, then you would recite the hamza with dhamma, like utlu, utlu. All right. And the second case, if it's alif lam and it's a definite noun, ism al-ma'rifa, then you would start with a fatha. For example, alhamdu, alhamdu. And then the other case is if it's kasra in the verb, you read it with kasra when it's a verb in the order tense. And the third letter has a kasra or fatha. Just like, for example, ishrah or ithnani. Okay, ishrah is a verb. Or idrib, for example. And also you read it with a kasra. In another case, when the verb is in order tense and the third letter has a dhamma, but it's not original. For example, imshu, you read imshu, the sheen has dhamma, but because the dhamma here is not original, that you read it with kasra. And then the other cases is also if it's a past tense verb, you will also read it. And these are some of the examples that how you read Hamzatul Wasl. So just to make it easy, if the third letter is dhamma and it's an original dhamma, then you read the Hamzatul Wasl with dhamma. If it is alif lam and ma'rifa, ism ma'rifa, a definite noun, then you read it with fatha. And every other case, we read it with kasra. So that's today's lesson. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.